So basically this video is going to show you how I use two GPUs, a 750 Ti and a Radeon 7, a new $1,000 GPU with basically a $250 GPU in the same system. You plug in the 750 Ti, you remove your Radeon 7, then you plug in your 750 Ti into the top slot, you download the drivers, install all the drivers for it, remove it, plug the Radeon 7 in the top slot, get all the drivers for it and everything, update it, and then plug the 750 Ti in the bottom slot. If you only have two GPU slots, well then you have to plug it in the bottom slot, but I would plug it in a higher up one because that's what you're supposed to do. But you always want your primary GPU in the top slot and the secondary one in a different slot. So I'm not sure if this will work for everyone, but right now I'm using a Ryzen 2700X, a B350 Plus motherboard, and I'm using 16 gigabytes of RAM. So I'm loading up CPU-Z so you can see that I'm using everything. I loaded up CPU-Z so you can see that I'm actually using two GPUs. So here we go. So you can see that I'm using a 750 Ti and a Radeon 7 on the same machine. And if I go over to memory, you can see my memory, what memory I'm using. So I'm using a DDR4 G-Skill, and it should be 130 something. Everything is running perfectly good. The Radeon 7 is running at 10%. GTX 750 Ti is running at 32% because I'm using OBS right now to record this. Usually the Radeon 7's at 0. But I don't know what's using it right now. It could be Google Chrome or something. So now we're going to go over the settings in OBS, and you go to output. You make sure your encoder is selected to the NVEN ENC-H.264 codec by NVIDIA. And for record, well, this is for streaming. So this is for the streaming one. So we go CBR, well, if your internet is a 10 gigabit upload, you can handle 6,000 for 1080p. So we'll do 6,000. You could try 3,000 or 5,000. That's fine. You want to make sure that's on 2. You want to make sure quality's on max. High profile, 0. You want to make sure it's using GPU 0. If your 750 Ti shows up as GPU 0, use 0. Max frames, make sure it's on 4. And then you want to go over to video settings. You want to go 1080p, this, and 60 FPS. Now your audio settings are straightforward. You go your speakers and then your microphone. And of course I'm using a program like this, which is CPU intensive. So now I have no bottlenecks on my CPU. So now I can actually use this program and my voice doesn't sound distorted. I'm not using my CPU no more to record. It's just all putting the load on this secondary GPU when I stream. So now all that works together to go to this cable output. Everything will be linked into the description. The program that I use for the voiceover thing, and I'll make a video on that soon. I'll make another video like how I built my computer. I'll probably list all my parts below that I'm using right now. The other thing that you want to do is you want to make sure your audio is on track. Okay, so when you're streaming, you want to make sure this track 1 is selected, and when you're recording, you want to make sure 1, 2, and 3 are selected. So when you're streaming, make sure 1 is selected, and when you're recording, make sure 3 are selected here. Now, your recording is going to be a little bit different, so you're going to go VBR, you're going to go 4 to 6,000, 60,000, 40,000 to 60,000. 4, max quality, high, 0, and 4, make sure these both are checkmarked. And you want to go to your audio and make sure everything's changed to 192, and then rename it to MC1, MC2, MC3, all the way down. Because if you're using extra audio tracks and it creates it, it's always going to create a new one for each one. So it's going to not overwrite them. That's what I'm kind of getting at. And then you're going to want to open it in a program like Sony Vegas so that it splits the audio channels and stuff. Or a program that can do multiple track editing, which not a lot of them can do. So you want to find a way to get Sony Vegas to do that. So yeah, you can do that. And then you go to, okay, so I think we're done with that. And I'm using Restream.io, so I'm streaming on 4 different websites at the same time, which is not hard. You can set that up. It's pretty easy. I use Mixer, Twitch, and YouTube. YouTube is on its own, kind of, in a way, but it's still linked up to Restream. So I kind of end my YouTube stream before I end everything else, because you want to make sure your YouTube streams are only like 4 hours long, because if it's longer than that, it takes forever for it to render. It takes forever for it to render the full length of the thing. So if I do a 10-hour stream, it'll take like 24 hours for it to actually like fully render out, and some of the stuff on the end of it's missing. So that's why I only do like 4 or 5 hours now with YouTube. Roughly, I try to do 4 hours apart. 4 hours apart on YouTube now. And I'll show you a clip of my YouTube video in a second here. We're going to close that. So this is what it looks like on your OBS. So you'll have, you know, right now I'm using display capture, so it's not really going to be that great. So your filters for your microphone, I use a gain sense. So after going through this program right here, I minus the audio by 6 because it's really loud coming through. So I minus it by 6. I limit it by 6 and 3 with a program called LoudMax 64. And then I up the gain to 15. And then that makes it so that I'm peaking, but I'm not actually peaking. It's weird. It's weird how it works. Like I could be talking, I could be yelling into the microphone like, hey, yo, like whatever, you know, and it stays perfectly fine for the listener. So I figured out how to do this. I don't know. It's not really that hard to figure out how to do it. You just keep tweaking with settings, and you will kind of want to stay between the yellow, and that's pretty much it for that. So my audio settings. Now this is something that I've watched videos, and I've watched people like show videos on how to do this, and I've kind of tweaked it a bit myself. So you want to use the first plugin called Regate Standalone. You want to go minus 46.8, 1 over here on this top where it says envelope. You want to use 1, 2, 105, 2, 233, minus 1.8, 20,000 megahertz. You want to make sure this is on 0 over here in the corner. This number. If you can't see my mouse, well then that's terrible. But you want to make sure all these settings are perfect to where you can get them. And let me just take this off screen for right now. So like I said, just jot down these settings for the gate first, and then we'll do the recomp. So it's called Recomp Standalone. All this will be in the description. So you want to go minus 15.4 off to the left here, and I guess you can see my cursor, so that's pretty good. 0, 3.0, 15, 4.9, and 20,000. And the final one, 5.0 right here. And here you want to go minus 22.3. And you want to make sure auto makeup is probably checked. If it's not, then make sure it's checked. You want to go to your gain. Change your gain to 8.00. And you want to use your LoudMax again here at the very end. And you want to go minus 9.0 and minus 5.0. And that will make it so that when your game audio is really loud, it sounds lower, so that like if there's game audio peaking, it doesn't sound as loud as you think it would. So my game audio will be really, really low. And anything that peaks, it doesn't peak. Like you'll hear it peak in your headset, but you won't hear it peak on stream. So it'll kind of balance it. It's kind of like how I've done with my mic so that it balances my mic. But I've done all the balancing here on this program, not in OBS. I don't balance my mic in OBS. I balance my mic on this because if you go to this very last option right here, and I'll do this in another video, if you go to this very last option, this is a really high intensive program for your usage of CPU. So that's why I am using CPUs. You can see that I'm using only 10% or so. So depending on what game you're playing, you may want to mark this to low CPU. And you also want to make sure your stereo is off. At this point, you want to make sure stereo is off because you don't want to do it on OBS because it screws with your quality of your audio and stuff. I know people do it on OBS, but you want to do it on this program so that when it sends it over to OBS, it's already mixing in stereo that's not there. So it's good. It's already like sending your audio into not stereo, but then over here it's converting it to stereo. Like it's kind of it's weird, but it sounds better. That's all that matters. It sounds better because it's not stereo, but then on OBS it's acting like it is stereo, so then it sounds better. I don't know. It's just whatever. Now, you may have to tweak settings here, like I said, like I'll go over this in another video because this is more longer to get all set up and stuff, and I'll have to link all the plugins in that next video. But you can see that I've done like a whole bunch of things here just to get this right. I had to work on this for like a good like 2 days just to tweak this to get it to work so where it doesn't pick up background noise. When I talk, it doesn't sound choppy. Like if I'm not yelling into my mic, or if I'm talking far enough away, it still picks it up. Like if I have like a water bottle, you can hear that. But if you can hear the water bottle. You shouldn't be able to hear the keyboard. So only when I start like mashing on my keyboards, you can hear it. You can't hear my mouse when I click it, so that's a good thing. So I've tweaked this loads. And like you can see the difference between when I go to low and high probably. I always leave it on high. It's just how I am right now with the way that I want the audio to sound. If I'm not playing a high intensive game, I have it on high. If I'm playing a high intensive game, then I have it on low. It's just whatever you want it to sound like. If you want it to sound like choppy when you're playing a high end game, I don't think you want that. So I usually just flick it to low, but sometimes I leave it on high. It doesn't really matter at this point. Like I said, I'm using 2 graphics cards. So the stream is running 750 Ti. And I'm actually going to show you a stream that I did yesterday. Was it yesterday? You know, it was the 14th, so it was 2 days ago. So yesterday, well, I was playing this yesterday as well. So this is a video, and as you can see, it's streamed right to YouTube, 1080p 60 FPS, 720 60. You could select which one you want. But this is what the gameplay looks like. Okay, so let's go to a part where I'm actually talking so you can hear my actual audio from there too. That doesn't help at all. So anyway, that's like a bit of a preview of what it looks like and how long I've streamed, which is like 3 hours there. And we'll go to my other one, which is a little bit better, I guess, because I was tweaking more settings to it. Like the next day, here's another 3-hour stream. And let me just pause that. You can hear it lower because that's the way that I've recorded it. If I really wanted to, I would take this video down. Like I would download it, go into Sony Vegas and increase everything, so that then it sounds better. Like I would go 7.0 on the audio, and my microphone would probably go up like to a 9 or something to make it sound better at max volume. Because right now, it doesn't sound as loud.
I understand you're confused.
And actually, if you are going to record a video of someone's audio, you want to make sure everything's unchecked, because I'm seeing.
I don't
yeah.
blame you for it.
Big of you.
Now, why don't you come with me? We'll reacquaint you with...
So that's what it sounds like when it's not checked. Oh, and I do have to reset the program every so often. So you want to make sure everything's saved on the first preset, so that when you reset it, it reloads the same preset for the virtual audio cable. There we go.
Mic should be better now if it was
will do you good.
being delayed or whatever.
This corridor is for patients. Most of them aren't.
Okay, so that's what my stream looks like. That's what it sounds like. And as you can tell, there's really no buffering. There's like, it's perfect for 1080p. And it works with 2 graphics cards and 1 computer. One that's only worth like $200, and the other one that's worth like $1,000. So, and it's using my $1,000 graphics card to play the game.
Xbox 360 and then the game right there.
And then the 750 Ti to stream it. And if we go to another game, the reason why this other game is blurry and choppy is because my HD PVR is not good enough for this. I need to get an actual like $200 capture card, which I plan to make a video on that for recording like Xbox games and stuff. So this was when I was playing Borderlands 3, and you can see that I was streaming like constantly. I was streaming this game constantly, like 11 hours, 4, This is like 11 hours within 5 days, like 11 hours every day. It took me 5 days because, yes, it took me 7 days total. Played just whenever, like, it was weird. I just played like 4 hours one day, 5 hours, 6 hours. So I finished the game on day 7. But as you can tell, this is what the quality looks like. It looks actually pretty decent. Like look at that. This is nothing. I haven't edited anything. This is one straight clip for 6 hours of the quality that this was producing with 2 GPUs in one system. And I was streaming my Xbox though. The HD PVR that I have isn't that good, so that's why it looks choppy. But honestly, if I was playing that on PC, I think it would have been recording way better. So let me go back and make sure all my stuff is selected here. But yeah, anyway, so that's like a 6-hour stream of me playing Borderlands, but there's like 11 hours. Like the quality never diminishes, which is awesome. There's other stuff that I've done, like, but it's not live streamed. So, like I've played WoW. But that was using my CPU. Because this is what WoW looked like when I was streaming off my CPU. Let me just mute everything. So this is what WoW looked like when I was streaming off my CPU. It looks fine. It looks perfectly. But my audio was distorted because the program that I'm using uses CPU intensive. And if you have it on high, it uses more usage. If you have it on low, it uses less usage. But when I was streaming, it was interfering with that, causing my voice to be distorted. So I figured out a way to not have my voice distorted, and that's by using 2 GPUs in one system. Instead of going the route of making a secondary streaming computer, this works. Like, I mean, there's a game. Okay, here's a game where I actually used it. I'll link that video in the description as well, because I think I went over the settings there too. It's right here. This is the video where I was showing that I was using the NVIDIA NVENC H.264 codec, and I was showing you all the things up top of how it's running for a good like couple hours. Like, I think I even streamed on Twitch with the thing on screen, so it was very good. Like, it's awesome.
What's going on the map?
So that's me editing the video to where you could hear everything a lot better. Let me just remove all the audio conversions. So this is what the audio actually sounds like. When it's fully done and mixed. So it's adding it up here. But yeah, I'm getting 100 FPS, and if I uncap it, I'll probably get a little bit more. Let's see. The CPU and the GPU not bottlenecked at all. I'm getting 158 on the menu. The Radeon 7 in the top slot, and the GTX. So there's another video, and I'll link that in the description. And that was me playing Destiny 2 on the Blizzard client. I haven't actually played Destiny 2 on Steam yet, so I don't know how it works. Destiny 2, like, game, I don't care to play it anymore. I mean, I played it to level 30. I thought, you know, I'll play Destiny 2 to level 30 because the first one was really good. It became free to play, so I was like, oh, I'll play it. I mean, I didn't really like the way they did Destiny 1. I liked Destiny 1, but I didn't like the way they did it, like for the raids and stuff. I think the raids were added last minute. I don't care for it. Buying another one because I'm not buying the second game because I don't really care. Like, it just wasn't worth the money to buy the second one, so I just never wanted to play it. I'm not going to buy the DLC for it because I don't really care to play it. If I had maybe a bit more drive to play it, I would, but I don't, so I'm not going to. But yeah, those are the settings for that. And like I said, this is all 1080p. I mean, it says 720p there, but I need to fix that and make that better someday soon. So that will be probably coming soon. I'll make more newer banners and stuff. But yeah, the reason why I can't make new banners is because everything is on my other hard drive. So I recently upgraded this computer to Windows 10, so it was Windows 7, I think, and then I upgraded it to 10, and then I shoved it in this computer, so then it was just Windows 10. That's why it says Windows Activate, because I actually have Windows 10, like a Windows 10 key, but I haven't used it on this computer, because I think it's used on one of my other computers that I use still. So if I activate it, it's going to interfere with that one, so I'm not doing that. But yeah, you can download Windows 10 for free. You don't even have to have a key. You don't even need to activate it no more. You can get all the updates for free to the latest version through downloading it on the website. You just download it, throw it on a USB drive, and it installs it for free. So you don't even have to pay for it. That's pretty much all I wanted to go through. I guess the last thing would be this. You want to go minus 3.0 for your desktop audio, and you want to make sure it's on 17. If you've done everything correctly, like it should be, that should be on 17 offset. You want to go 1, checkmark 1, uncheckmark 2, and checkmark 3, so that your audio goes into line 1, and the audio track is saved on track 3. Your microphone, you want to make sure that's not being limited. If you want to make it limited so that it's not hitting the red line like mine is, then you can probably take it down a bit, like -3, but then it's probably going to sound lower than it should be. Now, you want to have that sync to 14. Now, if you're streaming like something that has a 5-second delay, you want to make that to 14,000. So, but I've noticed the way that I have this set up now is you go into here, and you go to cable output VB audio virtual cable, and you use you make sure that's select there. There's another way to do it. So if you have an HD PVR, you can go in here and you can make it so that the audio, you just capture the audio only here, and it should sync it. But if it doesn't, then you have to do 1,000, and then you just hit close. But you want to make sure this is going through line 1, because all line 1 will show up on your stream or your recordings from earlier. And your line 2, this is where your mic will save, and then you want to have everything else unchecked. All this would be check marked, so you want to make sure it's all unchecked. So the only one you want for your desktop audio is 1 and 3, and your mic 1 and 2, and that's it. So line 2 will be your mic track. Line 3 will be your audio track. So then you will remove line 1 and 1 when you go into your video editing software. So then you can increase your mic and you can increase your audio. You can probably decrease your audio if you wanted to. That's another thing. So that's pretty much it. I mean, if you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to check out all the parts down below. And that's pretty much it. Subscribe. Leave a comment if you want to see more content like this, or if you want to see something else like another video or more gameplay. Tell me in the comments below, and I will get to it when I can.